I've been
Okay.
getting back at candidates for the last 24 years.
Great.
No one invites me anymore.
Yeah. Here goes my aspirations. That's right.
Yeah.
No, it's okay. You'll make it. You just won't forget it.
Well, let's do a little bit of 1 Timothy here. Do some light translating. Now that we've done Peter. And then as much time as we have, we'll do a little bit of rapid reading in 1 Peter chapter 2. But let's see, where can we stop off?
Is it my turn?
Probably.
Okay. Or is it your turn?
I did the last one.
Yeah, what's your turn?
These things suggesting good to good brother. Wow, I should have smoothed that one out better. Okay. You don't want to sound it up, just go ahead.
Yeah, we're going to just translate away.
Okay. These things suggesting good to you, good brother, will be righteous of Christ Jesus, being trained in the words of the faith and the good teaching.
Okay, what is it, diakonos? Instead of
Sure.
kaio,
Oh,
you went
that's
that
right.
kaio sune.
I'm confused. Serving or ministering, right?
You will be a good servant.
Yeah, he will be a good servant.
Okay, he'll be a good servant of Christ. That makes a whole lot more sense.
Is it you or he? I say.
I think that's you.
I think it's you. I think it's
You will be.
You.
I thought I looked it up.
It's the future of a me.
You will be.
Okay. Continue on.
Is this ordination?
Are you sure? Are you sure? Which one? Are you sure? You will be a servant of Christ Jesus. That's better. Being trained in the words of the faith and good teaching which you have been following.
Good. Verse 7.
Verse 7, but refuse
Good brother.
profane and absurd fables, but train yourself to godliness.
Good, that's good. You see beyond godliness. Godliness or piety. Good.
That's an imperative. The-
Yeah,
The you not say.
that's right.
Present.
Yeah, Gum Nazi. Present imperative. What's the significance of that? Maybe. Nuance of a present imperative?
No, maybe, yeah. But, yeah,
No.
right.
But possibly the nuance would be the idea of continue doing it.
Right, with that.
Not always, but yeah.
That would be why it would be present.
Right, that'd be why it'd be a present imperative instead of an aorist imperative. Not telling them to start doing it, but to continue. Okay, verse 8.
For the bodily training is toward little advantage, but godliness is useful for all things, having a promise of the life now and put the life again, the life about to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this life, notice having life of now and of about to be. It's a idiomatic statement. Life in the present and in the future. it's really an idiomatic statement, what you have there. So you translate it, try to translate the sense more. Okay, verse 9.
This is a faithful saying, and worthy of all approval.
Yeah, continue on through 10.
For in this we labor and compete, because we have hoped in the living God, who is Savior of all men, particularly those believing.
Good. Why is verse 10 so significant theologically?
Well, it's interesting that it says especially the believing ones.
Yeah, especially of believers. What does this do to the doctrine of limited atonement? See, he's the Savior of all men, believers in particular, or especially believers. But there's clearly a distinction between all men and believers. And he's Savior of both. But that doesn't mean all are saved.
It's the idea of the extent and the intent
That's right.
of our son.
Yeah, so there's why I do not hold to limited atonement. This, and you've got, I think it's John 2, 1 John 2:2, same thing. He's the propitiation for all, especially for the saints. And so you have that concept repeated. Okay, verse 11. Or do 11 and 12 together.
Yeah, proclaim and teach these things. And I don't have this down, so I'm shooting a little bit here.
Yeah, that's good. Well, first on 11, what kind of imperatives are those?
Second. Singular.
Are they present or aorist imperatives? Present imperatives. Keep proclaiming and keep teaching. Okay, again, that nuance may be there. Okay, verse 12.
So this would be the let no one disregard your youth.
Good, yeah. The kata phroneto is in the subjunctive, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Where's the
It's an imperative. It's an imperative. Actually, no, it's not a subjunctive. It's an imperative. Let them. Present active imperative. Don't let them despise your youthfulness.
okay, but they would know the pattern of your faith.
Yeah, but, or you could say an example,
For example,
genu, be an example, another imperative, be an example.
in word and behavior.
Now, of this faith, is this an example of faith or faithfulness? Is this the noun, pistis, or is it the participle,
Either now
or is it the adjective,
just saying.
The
Believers here, so it's
and see the challenge is this, you've got the tone, piston, and it can be any of them. So anyhow, so it could be an example of faithfulness in word, which is probably the way to put it, rather than an example of faith in word. So because it can be any of them, I would lean towards going with it being then the adjective form. The adjective. be an example of faithfulness in the word. Anyhow, continue on.
Well, in the context, it says, point out to the brethren. So he's keep telling him how to act as in that setting.
That's right, yeah.
Talking, so it would seem that that would be referring to the believers then, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So then it's just in word and behavior, in love and faith, and in purity.
Good. In other words, your life needs to be characterized by consistency in all these areas. That's what he's saying. Verse 13.
Until I come, continue to devote yourself to the public reading, the exhortation, teaching.
Good. Notice the use of the datatives there. Interrupt. Didn't use, here's one where he didn't use Kai. But it's a list of things to do. So he uses a series of articles. But there's an understood Kai in them. But they're different things. They're not all the same thing. So by leaving out the Kai, he's making it clear he's got a list of things he wants them to be doing, that they're not all the same thing. Because Kai makes things equal. And he's not making these equal. These are a series of things to do. So that's why you don't have Kai there. Grammatically, that's what's going on. Okay, verse 14.
Not neglecting your gifts, which were given to you through prophecy, with the laying on of the council of elders' hands.
Okay. Now, let's ask this question. You got two charismatos, okay? The gift in you. In the genitive. What role is it playing in a sentence? Yeah, it's a direct object to the verb. But it's in the genitive. Why? You remember that? Some verbs take a genitive direct object. This is one of those examples. Some verbs take a dative direct object. Most verbs take an accusative direct object. But some verbs do take a genitive direct object, and so this is an example.
Is there a rule on that, on which verb do what, or is it just?
I think there is. And I'm trying to remember what it was. It has to do with the, as I remember it, it has to do with the, if you want to think of it as the verbal aspect of the noun. Like akuo. Akuo takes the dative direct object because you hear with regard to something, I think is how it really boils down to. So there's some nuance as to what's helping it. But I haven't gone through and seen if there's some, if anyone's put a rule together on that. I'm sure there is. But so this one, and if you notice, probably all of you, when translating through it, you didn't even notice that it's a genitive. Genitives aren't direct objects, but you translate it as a direct object because that's the only way it makes sense. Yeah. Okay, next.
Well, you can ask a theological question.
Sure.
What's the significance of the gift through prophecy and the laying on of hands?
I believe here that this was a case where Paul is telling Timothy, this specific spiritual gift was given to you under apostolic authority. In other words, we gave you this gift from God. Everyone has a spiritual gift, so Timothy's spiritual gift came with the laying on of hands. And probably the laying on of hands it involved not only the spiritual gift, but a commissioning. What we would think of as an ordination.
Refers back to 1 Timothy 1:18,
Yeah.
where he was.
Yeah.
Didn't have his animation.
There might have been a lot of guys
Yeah.
laying on hands.
Yeah, he probably didn't have an ordination council, but
Would you rather they call it Paul all over you?
And so this is the apostolic the significance of the
That's right.
apostles. So
Yeah, this is the
nowadays,
significance of the apostle.
we don't necessarily see the gifts coming to us this
Right.
in this way.
Right. In fact, we don't have anyone living today who would have the authority to grant someone a gift.
Well, except the Pope.
Benedict.
He's in the line of.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, Benny, good call.
And well, both are Bennies, yeah. Both named Ben, yeah.
Okay, verse 15. These things practice in them be, in order that you who progress might be visible to all.
So what's is thee there?
It is a future second singular of,
Yeah, it's a good one, isn't it?
I had to look it up.
So, a future tense, so you will be in these.
Oh,
By these, you will be. Right?
oh yes.
Yeah. Okay, very good, very good.
Guard yourself in the teaching, continue, and then for doing this, also you will save yourself and your hearers.
Salvation by works.
It's cooler right there.
There you go.
Now, how do you deal with theological? Because that is soseis is the future, right?
Yeah.
Second person future, indicative. You will save. Say auton, you will save yourself. And again, here's where it's very important theologically to understand what it means by save. And the answer is save, sozo, means to deliver from something. So the question is, what is he being saved from? Well, Paul's clearly not talking about being saved from hell. What is he being saved from? Most likely,
False teaching.
false teaching, deception.
False teaching and the people despising him because he's young.
Oh, yeah, it could be that too, yeah. No, it's false teaching.
Is it?
And the reason is because notice, he's also not just saving himself, but also those akouantas hearing him.
But if they quit despising him,
Yeah. But here it's the idea of those he's teaching, because remember he's been commanded to be doing this teaching and to be maintaining his gift, which must have been teaching. And so it delivers him from deception, but it's also going to deliver those he teaches from deception. Although, what is the problem with them despising his youth? Which, by the way, Timothy was probably around 40.
Good one to go down.
Just trying to encourage you. Just trying to encourage you here. He's probably around 40. But remember, in their world, you weren't really a serious adult till you were 30. I mean, you entered into adulthood at 13 when you bar mitzvah, but you weren't really an adult until you were about 30 in their culture, which is why Jesus didn't begin his ministry until after he was 30. In fact, some people think he may have been as old as 37 when he was crucified. So Timothy would be considered a young guy because they valued elderliness, age. But what is he? What is Paul telling you young guys? I used to be a young guy, but I think now I'm finally getting old. At 56.
Retired, didn't they?
Yeah, priests got to retire at 50. Well, then they switched and became Levites, so they could still work in the temple, but just not as priests.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, they got to retire at 50. But after slaughtering that many animals, they probably retired. But,
You'll turn
It's
into
hard
smell
work,
attached to
yeah.
your signature.
yeah. But what does he tell young ministers?
He tells them that entreat the older men as fathers, the older women
His
as
mothers,
mothers, and the younger brothers and sisters.
brothers and sisters, treat everyone with respect. But here, what is he tells you what he tells Timothy. Recognize that you are young, but live out your calling in a way that people will see, hey, this person is serious about serving the Lord. And you will gain the respect of the older generation. And it's a challenge. You think it's funny, when I taught a Sunday school class for 10 years, where I was the age of their younger kids and grandkids. when I started out, they were all like from 65 to 85. When I was done, they were mostly 75 to 95. But they, the drop-in class. But they came to respect me. That was the name of the class. Instead of dropping out, they dropped in. And the key to reaching them was doing again what I was gifted at, and being able to communicate to them and touch, and meet their needs. And so they came to respect me. And at first they thought, this brash young guy. But they did come to respect me, but it is over time. And it's by living in front of them, getting to know them, and them getting to know me, and being able to teach to them and minister to them. And by the way, it was an interesting ministry because a part of my ministry was helping many of them through the dying process. Teaching them in such a way to prepare them for that process, to handle it with grace and dignity. And as well as some were struggling with different issues with their kids and their grandkids and those kinds of things. There's great ministry opportunities. But at the same time, I know, it's when you're that much younger than another group, there is, in a sense, something where you have to prove yourself. And the way you do it is by just simply living consistently.
This is a commentary. I've always found interesting in verse 15 that he says, in order that your progress may be evident to all.
Yeah.
And I always thought it's, having dealt with search committees for so many years, one of the first questions they ask is, as for reference as well, how much did the church grow? Did you get like new buildings or more bodies or a bigger budget? I've never had anyone ask a reference, did you ever see him grow?
Yeah, spiritually.
But that's, your progress, your growth, your advancement should be evident to the people that you're serving.
Yeah.
And it just always struck me as odd that we never ask those questions. We always ask, how big did the church grow?
That's right. That's right.
I want to know, how big did the man grow?
Yeah.
Amen. I like that.
Yeah. And that is the important thing. And you know what? If you are growing, it will be evident to all. And that's the key. And in fact, that's where you'll find the older generation will come to respect you as a young minister when they see your progress. And by the way, he's not talking about just spiritual growth. He was talking about developing his spiritual gift. Just because you're gifted in a certain area by God doesn't mean you can't grow in that gift. And you should do things to develop that. For example, if you're gifted as a teacher, you should do things to develop your teaching skills still. It's not automatic, and it's not without effort. The best thing I ever did was I accidentally took 2 courses in seminary, just because they were all that was available, so I signed up for them, God's sovereign design. One was called Effective Pulpit Reading, and it was how to read the Bible. And it was really how to use your voice. Because up until then, I was a monotone. And I learned how to use vocal variation. And the other was called Effective Pulpit Delivery, which was a drama class on how to use your body and move. And I learned how to use the stage and move around and do gestures, because up until then, I always stood there, stared forward, and talked in a monotone, and thought it was great. And
People.
yeah.
Another thing it says in verse 15, it says, give yourselves entirely to them. And this is directed to pastors,
Mm-hmm.
but it's sort of informative. One of the things I'm thinking about is sort of bivocational work
Mm-hmm.
in ministry. But in this teaching,
Oh.
it's almost like you really should devote everything
Yeah.
that you have to the ministry.
Yeah, well, he's saying there, devote yourself totally to this ministry and to your calling, but at the same time, you balance it out. Paul himself did tent making when it was necessary. Now, but when he had the opportunity, he devoted himself entirely to ministry. So there is that balancing thing. So, and there's a lot of people here in Oregon, pastors of small churches out in the middle of nowhere, who have to be bivocational simply because the church can't support them. But as soon as the church can, they ought to devote themselves totally to the ministry. And that's one of the things.
No, Dr. D, you mentioned something, you mentioned the word respect. And I've always felt that when a young man does these things, he builds a platform of respect.
Yeah.
And he becomes very effective that way. But sometimes in our idealism and our impatience, we skip the integrity things.
Yeah.
I think we just want to get up there and be the communicator, and we don't have that platform of respect with people.
Yeah.
And so we are less effective at that.
Yeah. Yeah, then they say, oh, this person has talent but not maturity. What you really want them to say is, for his age, this guy's very mature. And he's gifted. And it does. It really opens people's hearts. Well, let's do a little more reading here out of Peter.
Do you, on a totally different subject,
Uh-huh.
do you ever read the Old Testament, the Septuagint?
I was required to.
I mean, is it really different?
Yeah, Greek. It's much harder Greek. Yes. Well, I would say for me it seemed like much harder Greek. It's like reading Luke's Greek or better. So it's more complex, and the real challenge with it is the vocabulary. It has a whole lot more vocabulary, different vocabulary, but you can get aids to help you do, that'll give you the Septuagint vocabulary. I haven't found it useful because of that. In other words, the payoff doesn't balance out the work, since I have in English and Hebrew and that kind of stuff. Okay. Well, let's go here, and we'll just start in verse 1 and work our way along. Who was next? Where were we at?
We're in 1 Peter 2, is that right?
Yeah, 1 Peter 2, beginning in verse 1. Who translated that?
Okay. Okay. Put off. Therefore, put off all malice and all deceit and hypocrisy and envy and all evil speech, evil words, evil speech.
Yeah. In this case, the evil speech being directed against people, or then they put it defamation. Yeah. Good. Verse 2.
As newborn babes.
Oh yeah, we can do that. Yeah. Mess everybody else up.
As newborn babes, desire spiritual, pure milk, in order that you might grow in salvation.
Good.
If I taste that,
No, it's if you taste.
or if you taste, yeah. If you taste that useful, that
Look at, actually, it would probably be the last. Good, easy, kind, loving.
okay. If you taste the love of that loving the Lord.
Notice
Yeah.
article in the word.
The loving Lord?
No. The Lord is loving, or the Lord is good, or the Lord is kind.
Oh, so if you taste that the Lord is,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah. And if you look at the alternate possible meanings, you are mine to taste, to partake of, to eat, to come to know, to experience. So here we have the idea. If, and notice, you got a plus the indicative. If, and it is the aorist. Yeah, perfect. No, aorist, isn't it? I think it's aorist. I may be wrong there. You, my, because it's a,
Aorist.
okay, aorist opponent. Okay, yeah, it's not perfect, it's aorist, yeah. So if you have tasted, now we would translate with the perfect tense in English. If you have tasted,
That's what it
Yeah.
does.
yeah. And the if assumes it's true. First class condition. A plus the indicative, and you don't have an on in it, so then you know that it's not the second class condition, assuming it's false, it's the first class. So it's really saying, knowing that you have tasted that the Lord is good. See, that's what he's saying. Okay, verse 4.
Okay. I'm having a little trouble with proseric.
Okay.
Whatever.
Yeah.
On.
Toward whatever,
On is the relative pronoun.
whoever.
Hmm? Toward whom?
Toward whom you going to.
Okay. Coming to, the idea maybe.
Okay.
Approaching.
To, the stone. Zonta? Oh, the living stone.
Yeah, living stone, good, a living stone. Now we got a mid-deck construction coming up on you here.
Yeah. But is that
To Bob, by.
by men? On the one hand, it is rejected, or
Yeah.
has been rejected.
Has been rejected. Here's the perfect tense, good. Has been rejected. Having been rejected. On one hand, having been rejected. We got a perfect participle there.
Yeah. Have been, would it be having been rejected by men?
Mm-hmm. On the one hand, having been rejected by men. Good. Yes.
Okay.
And notice the participle, the reduplications between the, it's a compound verb, so it's between the preposition and the verb stem, where you have the reduplication. And it's a middle participle because you got the men from the participle form in there. So you got all the good stuff. Yeah. But having been rejected by men.
But from God, let's see. Click Tom. Is that from,
It's chosen, whatever, choice.
yeah, I was trying to think of the,
Choice. Yeah, elect, chosen as. Oh yeah, so you don't have one of these things. Precious.
okay, has been,
It's from Timios, or similar. It's related to Timios.
okay.
Timion.
Oh, yeah,
So-
we did that.
Same stem, different spelling. Yeah, but they're precious.
Okay.
Okay, good.
And these,
Mm-hmm.
as living stones, are being built up as a spiritual house.
Now, let's pause there. Let's parse. Like a dog, meiste. Which person? Second plural. You are being built up. So now, what about Altoid?
Considering it's,
Altoid there, the second word in the sentence, is nominative plural from altos. So how's it being used in this sentence? Got as a nominative plural, nominative got to be the subject of the sentence. But the main verb has a second person subject. Altois is a
third person.
third person. So, how does it work? We have a emphasis here. Is this being used as a reflexive pronoun? In other words,
What's that mean?
it's it, in other words, and you yourselves as living stones.
Being
Why would he do a Mason?
Why wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Because that would just be you. But for emphasis,
Or set out to.
yeah, often it'll use set out to, you yourself. But you can also do it this way. So there's emphasis. Anyhow,
Okay. So
as living stones,
and you yourselves are being built up, as living stones are being built up, as a spiritual house, into a holy priesthood.
good.
I'm gonna guess the second aorist on there, because the word doesn't look anything like the dictionary form at the bottom. So,
Which one's that? Oh, that one?
Isn't it in it?
Ananekai and Anaphara.
Yeah, it looks like an infinitive.
Is it?
Yeah, yeah, and it's a future, or, aorist, I think it's, yeah, it changes its stem completely.
Okay. So to offer spiritual sacrifice.
Yeah, and it is the infinitive. Good, to offer a spiritual sacrifice.
Acceptable to God through Jesus Christ.
Good.
Is that singular or plural?
Which one's that?
Spiritual sacrifice.
I believe it's a singular here, but let me double check. Let me look at the stem. No, I think it's plural. It's
Looks like it's the genitive.
It's,
that's given there.
it's
Generative.
no, it is not the genitive. It is the accusative plural feminine form.
How can you tell the difference?
They're spelled the same.
Oh, so you can.
Right. And the reason it has to be accusative is because pneumatikos
Is accusative plural.
is accusative plural. So it has to be that. Very good, see? Spelling's the same, but then you go to around and you find the answer. Okay, verse 6.
Looks like I'm going to read this from Septuagint, huh?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, because or
Yes.
for.
it is contained in Scripture, behold, I place the cornerstone in Zion,
Yeah.
or chosen cornerstone
Uh-huh.
in Zion, a precious chosen cornerstone in Zion. And something about faith in Him.
Yeah. And
Whoever
he who
does not-
believes.
Whoever does not believe in Him.
No, there's no not there.
What's the ooh? Or that's later.
Yeah, that's later.
Oh. Whoever believes in Him will not be put to shame.
That's right. And notice ume will absolutely not be put to shame, whoever believes in Him. Again, I think with this quote, this is another one of those sayings that talks about assurance of salvation, but also that salvation is by faith to all who believe. Whoever believes will not be put to shame. Not whoever produces, but whoever believes. Verse 7. Yeah.
Therefore, to you the honor, those believing, but those unbelieving,
Yeah, this here, honor is actually here, the sense of this use of the word is precious.
precious. But a stone that is being rejected is being built.
Now notice, the subject is hoi akadomuntes. Those buildings, the builders.
Those, the builders,
So the stone which
the
the
builders,
builders rejected.
such
This one, hutos, this one.
has become
Good, good.
the
Or became,
the headstone, the head corner, actually.
Good. So the head corner, or what we would think of as the cornerstone. Right.
And, oh, sorry,
Oh,
let me
we
do that.
finish that.
Sure, yeah, you can finish that, yeah.
Pastor Joe's got it all figured out over there, but.
I got the first word,
And,
and stone.
Okay. And the stone,
now in this case it would be a stone,
A
no
stone.
article.
a stumbling block,
Yeah.
and
So a stone of stumbling, notice it is the
stumbling.
genitive form. Pros, komatos, genitive form. So a stone of stumbling.
And a rock
Scandalous.
of scandal,
Yeah.
how do we say that?
Of a stumbling block or a fence.
Of a fence.
And we say a rock of offense. A rock on which you trip and stumble.
Those which is being struck,
Which those stumbling against, which
which those stumbling
are
against
those rejecting.
are the rejected. Rejecting the word or disobeying.
Disbelieving
Those
and disobeying.
Yeah. In which and take some
From tithemi.
distinct what
So we got a aorist here.
how does that
And it would be into which also they were appointed. Third plural, aorist, passive. Or actually, no, perfect, no. Passive, aorist, passive. Okay, they were disobedient to the word, and so going back, and those falling against it or being stumbling against it, being disobedient to the word, into which also they were appointed, would be the way we would. In other words, this was their destiny by God's design.
But you, a chosen race, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, people into possession.
A possession. In other words, a people whose purpose is to be a possession.
Okay. So that the virtues you may proclaim
Good. Yes.
of
Because it's a subjunctive there. That you might proclaim, you may
which you
proclaim.
may proclaim, out of darkness you so that the virtues you may proclaim, being called out of darkness.
Now, two of the one calling Humas, you, from darkness.
Okay, of the one calling you out of darkness
This
into.
is Peter again. He likes to stick all that stuff in between.
of the one calling you out of darkness into the marvelous, his marvelous light.
Good, yes, into his marvelous light.
Don't bring up a theological issue, not to,
Sure.
but back up on, it's actually back up on, you were saying that salvation is by faith, and so we know that, and then it says, so no one will be ashamed, but we know that there will be people. How do you reconcile that with the fact that we know that those who believe that do absolutely nothing with their sanctification can go to heaven and actually be ashamed?
Oh, good question. I think this idea of being put to shame is not looking at that aspect.
Okay.
It's looking at the idea of, it's the same thing. All who call on the name of the Lord will be saved.
Okay.
It's that sense.
Macro.
Yeah. In other words, they will not be disappointed. I think the idea of put to shame there is not the idea of humiliated, but the idea of being disappointed.
Or dismissed, kind of. Is that kind
Or being dismissed, yeah. They're not going to be set aside. They're not going to be humiliated.
Okay.
So it's looking at those who get in, not those who are rewarded.
Okay.
Okay, where are we at?
Verse 10, formerly ones not of people, but now the people of God, not ones.
Not those who have received mercy.
But now, in temptation.
Participles here. Nominative, masculine, plural, participle.
Receiving mercy?
And this would be the aorist participle, passive. Yes, those who have received mercy. Notice you've got the article. So you got, notice the use of the articles here. First you have the relative pronoun. Who, formerly,
Not a people.
then there's an understood were, not a people. And then there's an understood dead, noon, but now, there's an understood are a people of God. And then who, hoi, alemenoi. Hoi, alemenoi. So you got this participle with the article. Who, uk, in other words, who had not received mercy, but now, then there's an understood hoi, but now who have received mercy. So you had a good use of the articles there with the participles. Again, characteristic of Peter, he likes doing that. Lots and lots of participles. Okay, verse 11.
Okay. Beloved, I urge as strangers
Aliens or strangers.
and sojourning to abstain
Yeah.
of the fleshly.
And so now here you got to abstain, this infinitive with the genitive, it would be from. Yeah, it's
From the fleshly desires.
yeah. Or in this case, we would say from fleshly lusts, but strong desires. Heighteness.
Yeah, I don't recognize that.
Anyone recognize it before?
Is it
Like a
from
relative.
like
It's the relative. It is the relative pronoun tina.
Oh, okay.
Nominative plural form of it,
Okay.
which
I like waging or
wage war. Yeah,
waging war against soul.
good. Kata plus the genitive against
Soul.
the soul.
Or the soul, yeah. Singular, right?
Yes, against the soul. Singular.
Well, I've got your manner of life in the Gentiles or among the Gentiles.
Yeah, amongst the Gentiles, good.
Have something.
Having, yeah, notice again, it's the participle, having, kalein, good, having a good manner of life amongst the Gentiles. He's continuing that sentence.
Where that in that,
Yeah, good, and that which,
that which they speak about you? Or
yeah, they
something?
slander, that's the kata la,
Speak
they
against.
speak evil against, or speak against you.
Um,
And those, it's the humon, so that's the speak against. Notice again, this one uses the genitive to speak against you.
Kakopoian?
Yeah. Put the two words together. Bad and doers.
Bad.
Evildoers.
Okay.
They speak of you as evildoers. Kakos and then koya.
Evildoers from good works. They
That's,
they will.
yeah, I'll tell you what it is.
Observing.
Yeah, to observe. Observing or seeing.
Seeing,
In other words, seeing your good works
seeing your good works, they
from doxazo. They will glorify, yeah.
they will glorify God in the day of this God
Visitation.
okay, I was trying to remember.
Yeah, a day of visitation. I don't think you had
They
to
do
do
Episcopals.
That's right. That's why Episcopal Church doesn't have a visitation. No.
Not sure on the first word there.
From hupotasso,
So
subject.
Uh,
And this is, so this would be subject yourself.
subject yourself.
Or you subject, so, or be subject. And then the passe is in the dative.
Yeah.
To all. To all men. Passe, anther.
Yeah, again, I don't see where the creation fits in.
Ah,
Is that some, I was thinking subject creation to all humans.
yeah. All human creatures. Because anthro,
Okay.
pene,
Okay. Okay, so subject yourself to
all of the human creation.
all human creation on behalf of the Lord. Whether kings,
And again, it's the dative, so it would be whether to
okay,
king,
but whether to a king as having power,
Or whether to a governor as, through him, that being sent
being sent,
into punishment.
vengeance or punishment,
Okay, and then,
as a genitive
Evildoer.
plural. So evildoers,
evildoer. That, oh, okay, and then,
praise.
yeah, praise. What's that?
But praise of agatha poieo.
Yeah, what's that?
Yeah, do-gooders,
Oh.
good doers.
Because this is the will of God, doing right, silence foolish men who speak foolishly.
Okay,
I was speaking foolishly.
yeah. So this is the will of God, agatha poiuntos. What case is it?
Accusing.
Okay. So Doing good, right? Participle.
Doing good.
Accusative participle. By doing good, or while doing good. Fimun is,
Muzzling, silencing and muzzling.
but what is it?
That's another participle.
No. From fimal. Oh wait, it might be. Yeah.
Me too.
Hmm?
Accusative.
Present active participle.
Yeah. Present active participle. It is. It is.
It's,
You're right.
it's like muzzling
Yeah. Muzzling
foolish
foolish men.
Speaking foolishness.
Yeah. The ignorance.
Who's
Agnosion is the ignorance.
who are ignorant? Okay.
The ignorance. Silencing the ignorance of foolish men. See, tain, agnosion, the ignorance of tone, aphronon, anthropon, of foolish men. So silencing the ignorance of foolish men. Again, he stuck a bunch of stuff between the article and the noun. Okay?
Can I ask an interpretive question?
Huh?
The day of visitation,
Yes.
when the Gentiles are going to glorify God, what's the reference?
I believe it's the second coming of Christ and the Bema Seat judgment. Oh, not Bema Seat, the sheepcoat judgment. The day of visitation is always the time of the great judgment. So, I think it's an allusion to the actual second coming of Christ, not the rapture of the church. And the use of the day of visitation is the idea of judgment. Jesus comes to judge.
You wanna keep going?
Yeah. Yeah, we still got a few more minutes here.
Okay. As free men
Mm-hmm. Good.
and not, not cover, not as a cover, having,
Notice
okay,
the
having.
cover is in the accusative, so it's the direct object of,
Okay.
yeah.
Having is the accusative, having the freedom?
Having a cut, okay. As free men and not as,
Not as,
understood then, as having, as those having a cover of wickedness or evil, badness, kakos. The freedom.
how does that?
Okay,
how does
having,
that
okay, put this way, let's work on articles and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, having, okay, you need.
Of badness, the freedom. Okay. As freemen having,
Not having,
not having, not as. Okay.
not having. How about the freedom as
How about it this way?
cover?
Having a cover of evil, the freedom. In other words, as using their freedom as a covering for evil.
Yeah, okay. That sounds good. But as servants of God,
Good. As slaves of God, or servants of God. Good.
slaves of God.
17.
Honor everyone, love the brotherhood, fear God, honor the king.
Good.
House slaves, being subjected
Being subject.
in all fear.
And notice it's the middle, so it's subjecting themselves.
Yeah. Subject yourself.
Yeah.
In
Being subject in the sense of subjecting themselves.
all fear to the to the owner.
Yeah, to the masters. That's what
Not only the good and gentle, but also the unscrupulous.
Yeah. The twisted ones. This is what, by the way, this is what we get scoliosis from. Same word. Curved back. Uh-huh. All right. Okay.
For this grace,
Good. For this grace. Uh-huh.
through, is it conscious?
Uh-huh. Because of conscience.
Oh,
Because it's the dative. I mean, the accusative is because of conscience.
Is it God's consciousness?
Now, that's a good question. Because of consciousness, is this an objective genitive, conscience toward God, or subjective genitive, because of God's conscience, or a descriptive genitive, the conscience of God? This would be conscience towards God, objective genitive.
Okay.
Because of one's conscience towards God,
Brought, right, or offered. They, no, yeah, you offered this blueprints.
actually, that's not offer, it's to, that's, you're thinking of a fellow.
Oh,
This is who Pharaoh is to submit or to endure. So you,
this.
because of conscience toward God, he endures.
This is
Someone, tis would be someone, anyone endures.
Okay. If anyone endures something suffering.
Yeah. Afflict,
grief,
pain,
sorrow.
grief of suffering,
Of suffering.
or we would say maybe painful suffering.
Painful suffering. That decrease.
Unjustly.
Oh, unjustly.
Yes. Okay?
This is a
For
question.
poion is
Doing.
such a one. Or doing. Oh, that's right, doing, yeah, from poio.
Okay.
So while doing, present tense.
Okay, for while doing fame, if sinning, and being beaten,
Actually, is this from poieo or is this from poios? What sort of?
okay, for what credit is it if sinning and being beaten you remain?
Yeah.
So what credit is it if you remain?
And that's the idea, you endure, not remain. Yeah, you endure, good.
But if doing good and suffering you remain,
Or you endure.
or you endure, this grace
That is with God here.
with God.
So the idea of this grace with God is this, this brings grace from God or is pleasing to God, that concept.
Or in this, you've been chosen?
Well, in this case, not in this, but for this purpose.
Okay.
Yeah, ace there. You've been chosen towards this, to this purpose, the idea.
Okay, because Christ, I'm sure it often is.
From, it's suffered, from Peta.
What? Oh, okay.
It's the aorist form.
Okay, for Christ suffered on your behalf.
You got the chi there. Because Christ also suffered on your behalf.
Oh, back there, okay.
Yeah, hati kai.
Okay. Because Christ also suffered on your behalf. Leave behind. Leave behind the pattern.
Yeah.
What's that whom in
To you. He's left behind a pattern to you.
Okay,
But he just said, he put up front for emphasis, to you, he's left behind a pattern.
okay. These are-
Leaving behind a pattern.
Okay,
In other words, for your benefit, or with regard to you, with respect to you.
okay. In order that, you might follow, so that was some junk. In order that you might follow, his footsteps. In his
Good.
footsteps.
Yes.
Who made no or did no sin, and no deceit was found in his mouth.
Good. So we're out of time. Y'all doing good. Getting faster.
Not quite get a chapter.
But close. Notice that.
Yeah, it's getting closer.
It's getting close. And the more you translate, the faster it'll go.
Ready to do
More vocabulary.
Yep. The more vocabulary you have, the faster it'll go.